This here is my 6 by 16 raised bed. It's all cleared off. Last winter I mixed in straw and horse manure. $6 for a whole bale. A whole bunch of country boys probably laughing at me right now. You paid $6 for that? These here are stepping stones, so I can get in there and actually work the ground, tend the plants without having to step on the soil. Right there, about a stride apart. I have to take care of that in the next few days. But I'm going to turn this over, wet it down, and install the drip lines for that drip system. Be back with you in a few. You can see where I've dug and where I haven't. Just a matter of turning over the nicely decomposed material and putting the dried out stuff that was on the top down on the bottom. And I should only have to do this once. Using a flat nose shovel because about 4 to 6 inches beneath the ground here I buried some poultry netting to act as a gopher shield, keep the gophers out of the garden. Last year I was very disappointed to find that the only watermelon plant that actually sprouted and was doing very well died rather quickly when it got munched off the bottom by one of those little buggers. So I don't want to hook that poultry netting and turn it up. It would be much easier with a pointy shovel, a round nose shovel. But because of that, I limited myself to a flat nose shovel. So sometimes you... Goodness, look at this little guy. Some kind of grub. I don't know what you are. This is the observe and interact part. I'm going to have to look at this guy and look him up on the internets and see what he is. Maybe he's beneficial, maybe he's harmful. So, oops. Matter of digging down, flipping it over. Let's put it over. It's a mighty good workout. ground, it's good for you too. Alrighty, that'll do it. Make sure my stepping stone is uncovered. My drip line laid down. The final step was clearing off all the straw from the top and pulling back my drip lines, which I've already done here. And now I'm just taking the back side of a gravel rake and smoothing everything out, pushing it around and filling in holes, just basically making it a nice, smooth, roughly level planting area. And my seeds are almost ready to, my seedlings are almost ready to go into the ground. And it's just got to do this to the whole thing. Ooh, it's exhausting work. Not really. Got to pick out rocks here and there. And right here I found a gopher hole. One of the little guys found his way through my gopher screen. There was a gap large enough for him, and I went down to the hardware store and asked them what aisle their dynamite was on. They weren't amused, so I have to contend myself with these road flares, which work better than the smoke bombs that you can get in the garden pest section. So just select which ones. I'll take these two, get comfortable, and strike, and use one to light the other. Now I've got to be very careful not to burn a hole through my gopher shield. So I have to back them off away from the gopher shield a bit. And between the smoke there and the heat vaporizing some of the silicon, it should produce enough toxic gases, cover it up with a rock that I found in my garden. Kind of plug some of the holes so we have less escape, and clean up my mess. Kind of looks like something out of Dante's Inferno there, or a trip to Yellowstone. This is another hole. They weren't quite able to get up through it, but the ground was low enough, so I stuffed one down there as well. And this is kind of gross. Yeah, yucky. But I'm going to plug up the hole with these rocks here. The gap in the gopher barrier, and yeah, it's thoroughly burned, and it's not too hot to the touch. So I'll select my rocks and fill in the gap there to keep the gophers to come through. Nope, that one's too big. Yeah, that one's right in there. There you go. A gardener told me many years ago that you want to put a rock in their run, and they'll sometimes stop using the run rather than dig around it, because they'll use runs generation after generation. And just cover it up, and I'll go do the same thing to the other one. Now let's put my straw back down. Good layer of mulch. It basically keeps the soil from drying out too badly. And this is actually a mixture of straw and the dried manure that was on top. And just lay down my drip lines. And they actually work fairly well. I dug down beneath the top layer and found that it was quite moist underneath. Now these aren't very good for starting seeds. For that you'll need a sprinkler or start them in pots, because the seeds themselves need to get wet